it's Jordan and welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking all about holiday reads. I've got my ugly cat sweater on that I love so freaking much, and we're talking about all of the books that I have read that have a holiday theme to them, as well as a couple that are on my TBR that I hope to get to this time around. Every year I've always planned to do this video, and every year it's gotten away from me, and I talked about my favorite holiday movies, which I'll link on the screen if you're interested in checking that out, but never my favorite books or just book recommendations in general to get you in the holiday spirit. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right in. I've got quite a few titles here to talk about. I've read actually more Christmas books than I expected or realized that I have read. So let's go ahead and talk about my number one favorite Christmas read to date. One that I have the most fond memories of reading, which is What Light by J. Asher. We're following teenagers, it is a YA novel, and our main character Sierra lives on a Christmas tree farm in Oregon. However, every fall to winter-ish time, she travels down to California to live and work on a Christmas tree lot, selling Christmas trees to the locals. And one year while she is there, she meets this boy and they strike up a relationship, and it's really cute. It happens during the holiday season, and it's just one of my favorite Christmas novels. It has so much of like that nostalgic holiday spirit, plus it takes place on a Christmas tree farm, which just feels like the perfect setting for a Christmas book. That I just absolutely love this one. It is fairly short as well, so you could definitely read this fairly quickly, but I loved the whole atmosphere of being on a tree farm, being on a tree lot, living with these people who lived and breathed Christmas, basically supplying Christmas every year with their trees. And I just really enjoyed this and highly recommend this one. This is my favorite. Then we have a Christmas duology, and that is Dash and Lily's Book of Dares and The 12 Days of Dash and Lily, both by Rachel Cohn and David Levithan. This is the first book, this is the sequel. In the first book, we are following this boy Dash who is browsing the books of the Strand one day around Christmas time, and he comes across this red notebook. And the notebook is basically a list of dares. He ends up exchanging conversation with Lily, who is the owner of the notebook, and the two don't know each other, but they send each other on these wild, crazy dares throughout New York City during Christmas time. I don't remember loving this book a whole lot. I really liked the premise, and I really liked the scavenger hunt Book of Dares vibe to it, but I don't remember being particularly attached to either of the characters. I remember Lily feeling kind of young for her age in comparison to Dash, who was much more like pretentious John Green main character-esque, and I just felt like there was a really stark contrast between those two main characters. So it's not my favorite Christmas novel, but it is really fun, and I do remember it feeling very much in the Christmas spirit. And there is now an adaptation of this on Netflix if you're interested in that version. And like I mentioned, there is a sequel, The 12 Days of Dash and Lily, and I think if I remember correctly, I liked this one more. This one takes place a year later during Christmas time again, and we're following Lily, who is really struggling with Christmas. In the first book, she is obsessed with Christmas. She is the poster child for Christmas. However, this time around, some things have happened in her life where she's just not feeling that holiday spirit anymore. And Dash makes it his mission to bring Lily back to the side of Christmas that she loves so much. And I remember enjoying this one more. I don't remember particularly why, but I do remember this one being my preference of the two. But in general, if you're looking for a really fun Christmas holiday read involving shenanigans in New York City, both of these I would highly recommend, and I would recommend reading them. If you're going to read the second, read the first. I don't think it's a companion novel you could read individually. The next one on my list is The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. This is probably my second favorite Christmas novel. I think this is another YA novel. Lots of YA novels on this list here. And we are following our main character, Holly. The name almost escaped me, but then it's in the title of the book. So Holly's a real Scrooge, to the point where karma hits her in the butt and she ends up dying. And after her death, she is recruited into this Ebenezer Scrooge Afterlife program, where she now has to work for the ghost of Christmas past, present, or future, to help further along other people who have near-death experiences and need to have their life turned around. She is responsible for helping them turn their lives around. This one I really enjoy. It's a really long Christmas book, and it has this really fun, like, Christmas Carol reimagined vibe to it. Not a retelling so much as it's a reimagination of the story. I thought it was very clever, very smart, very creative, a very unique perspective on that classic Christmas Carol tale. And I really, really enjoyed this. This is something I would definitely reread in the future to satisfy that need for a holiday read around Christmas time. I really enjoyed this one. Next one I have on my list is Let It Snow, which is a bind up of 3 stories from John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. It is 3 holiday romances. This one actually also has a Netflix adaptation that you can check out if you want. I remember enjoying this adaptation last year as well. This is following 3 separate holiday romances, but they all intertwine together and they all have like commonalities between the 3 of them. I remember really, really enjoying the story when I read it. It's been a long time since I've read it. I don't read a whole lot of things from these authors at this point in my reading life, but I do remember really enjoying this. I think the first one, which is The Jubilee Express by Maureen Johnson, was my favorite, and I would recommend this one as well. The next one is also a bind up of a couple different stories, although unlike Let It Snow, which was 3 longer stories, this is 12 short stories, and it is My True Love Gave to Me. It's edited by Stephanie Perkins, and it's 12 winter romances, and this features a bunch of YA, very famous YA contemporary authors like Holly Black, Allie Carter, Matt De La Pena, Gail Forman, Jenny Han, David Levithan, Kelly Link, Mira McIntyre, Stephanie Perkins, Rainbow Rowell, Laini Taylor, and Kirsten White. Isn't this edition beautiful? This was the UK edition that I got a while back. It kind of ranged the gambit of like contemporary to a little bit more magical, a little bit more science fiction. You do have authors like Holly Black, Laini Taylor included in here who traditionally write a little bit more whimsy. I remember that there were some like really high highs in this book and also some really low lows. Like I really liked some things and I really disliked other things, which I think is pretty common for an anthology. It was really fun to like read one story each night for the 12 days of Christmas, and it's like a really fun concept. I remember Stephanie Perkins' story being quite a favorite of mine. The next one on my list is 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. This is one of my favorites, probably top three favorites. This one we are following Sophie, who is going home to her huge Italian family for Christmas, and she's having to leave a boy behind when she goes to travel to visit her grandparents. While she's there, her family is just absolutely heartbroken that this boy broke her heart, so they're trying to set her up on 10 blind dates over the holiday season to help get her mind off of this boy that broke her heart. And each date is so funny that each family member sets her up with somebody and they pick out the activity that she's going to be doing for her date, and then she goes out on the dates, and they're hilarious. Some of them are really sweet and really cute, and like you're pulling for them to maybe end up together, and then others are just downright inappropriate and just make you so cringe. But I really had a fun time with this one. I really enjoyed the 10 blind dates over Christmas time concept. She does a lot of really fun holiday activities. So much fun. I loved the family dynamics. I loved all the cousin dynamics. I loved the dates. I loved everything. I loved everything. And then the most recent one that I've read to add to this list is In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. It is kind of a Groundhog Day-esque story. We're following Malin. Her parents and a couple other families have been friends since college, and they've always gone to this cabin in Utah for Christmas. And while she's there this year, she drunkenly makes out with her hugest crush's younger brother. And then she finds out that they're selling the cabin, and she's just not having it. So as they're leaving the cabin for the last time, she throws a wish out into the universe of asking what will make her happy, and she gets into a car accident and wakes up the next day on the airplane heading back to the cabin at the beginning of the week to relive it all again. It is a Christmas novel. It is like a holiday novel, but I wouldn't say that's the focus of the story. It's not about the cute Christmas traditions. Although these families do have intense feelings about Christmas traditions, it's more about Malin and how she seizes what will make her happy in life and really like puts herself out there and starts going for the things that she always wanted to and never had the courage to before. So it's really more about her personal journey than it is about Christmas. My biggest fault with this book is that I just felt the relationship was a little too convenient and wrapped up a little too nicely in the end. But if you really like Christina Lauren and you really like chick lit, which is not a term I love so much, but this book is more like romance chick lit than like smutty holiday romance, I would recommend it for those people. So those are all the books that I have read that have Christmassy, holiday, winter vibes to them. But there are a few that I still have on my TBR that I want to get to hopefully this Christmas. If not, I'll save them for next year. The first one and the only one that I own is Snow in Love by Melissa De La Cruz, Nick Stone, Amy Friedman, and Casey West, which is 4 stories about snow and love. I honestly don't know much about this. It's very short, and it says that there's a snowy trip, takes an unexpected detour when secrets and crushes are revealed. A Hanukkah miracle may happen when a department store elf finds love. Love that we're representing Hanukkah. I think this one also has Hanukkah stories in it, and I think this one might as well. Don't quote me on this. I'm not 100% sure, but I vaguely remember those having Hanukkah in them. This one does for sure because the back told me. Christmas Eve gets a plot twist when a couple exchanges surprising presents, and a scavenger hunt, ooh, love that, amid the holiday crowds, ooh, love that, at an airport turns totally romantic, ooh. I'm very excited to read this. I meant to start this like a week ago and I haven't started it yet, but I'm excited to read it. It's the only Christmas book I own that I need to read this year, and it's really short and should be just like a fun, quick thing to help keep me in the holiday spirit. And then the next ones are a little bit more like adult romance vibe. How the Dukes Stole Christmas by Tessa Dare, Sophia Jordan, Sarah McLean, and Joanna Shoup. And this one has 4 short stories about dukes. I know a couple of those authors write historical romance. I'm not sure if this is a historical romance like anthology of works, or sounds like it's gonna be a fun time. And then the last one I have on here is Forever Wild by K.A. Tucker, which is like a 3rd installment in the Simple Wild series. It's a short novella that takes place after the 2nd book over the Christmas holiday season. And that's all I know about it. I will always sign up for more Jonah and Kala in my life. So whatever this is, I am excited to read it. And that is it. Those are my holiday book recommendations. I would love to know if there's any like really significant ones that I left out, or some other really good ones that I need to add to my radar for the future. What am I missing in my holiday reading life? Please tell me in the comments down below. If you would like to follow me anywhere else online, my Instagram and Twitter handles are on the screen now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I will talk to you very soon. Bye!